Hola, 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 mother flipper. Welcome back. I'm Spook, you guys. I'm back. And as you've seen, I made a little music video recently. It's my first foray into 2D animation in quite a while. So I have the storyboard, animatic, whatever you want to call it, loaded up right here. I don't know if you can see my mouse, but wait, that'll be a good thing to check. Give me a second. Good news, you can see the mouse. All right. So, like I said, animatic and the final video. It's just in Blender. So let's get to it. So play animation. There's no sound, by the way. Uh, so this first shot, everything looks matches up pretty good. You can see my fantastic, Oh, it gets worse than this. Trust me. Trust me. All right. Okay. All right, back to it. Bam. And if sometimes things come out 1 to 1, but you'll see later on things do not match up. Like, oh my god. And there's also some issues with timing where I try to do things, but then it just kind of doesn't work out because, especially when the cuts become very, very quick, I realized that yeah, you kind of need more than 12 seconds to look at something to get what it is and feel like understand what's going on. So there's that. And this was actually kind of like the first like good animation. Sorry about the keyboard in the background, but like I said, I'm just recording this in one go. So so this is a kind of like the first animation that I was like kind of like proud of in this because I made it all in sequence, and that's a pretty good thing and also kind of bad because you kind of forget things as you go. So that okay, and oh, that actually lined up better than I thought it would. And this background was a lot of fun to do. In fact, give me a second. I'll pull it up and we can look at it like right freaking now. Oh my god, it's so beautiful. So this is that background, and as you can see, it is super detailed and super sketchy. Wow, look at those bricks. And the reason why it's like this is because I kind of draw these like far away, if that makes sense. As in, I'll see it from this far away while I'm drawing it, but then I zoom in on the animation, and then you just see all this stuff. And I also really like to go fast, where I'm really fast and loose. I sketch, and then I think it looks good, and maybe it does. I think it does, but some people don't like it. They'll look at things. It's like, what is this? Oh my god, look at that book. Is that a book or a turd? It's a book. So yeah, back to the animation. Alright, we're back on the timeline. And another cool thing that you'll learn when doing animation is that you'll make huge backgrounds with details that are out of frame. And the background will appear once for like 3 seconds. Okay. Play. All right, she lays down, and this is where things start to deviate from the storyboard. Where initially she was just kind of laying there, but that did not look that interesting, so I added this kind of like swirly effect and chromatic aberration, which is just this kind of like weird. It's just this kind of a weird discoloration around the edges, as well as like a fisheye lens because I wanted to convey that she has like psychic powers. So this is kind of like reality becoming slightly like trippy like around her. But yeah, let me get this aligned. Ugh. Okay, shabam. All right, it's playing, and the, there's actually a weird like technical goof in here where hold up, going back. Oh my god. where when she gets her psychic powers going. Oh, does it not show up in the timeline? Oh, there it is. For some reason, she just kind of like disappears for one frame. I don't know how that happened. I'm still so when I started this, I started it as a learning exercise to get a hold of Blender's grease pencil tools, and I make and a ton of mistakes, and then a few more just for fun. And I don't know what happens there, but I think it looked good because when when I played the animation, it doesn't look like she disappears. It looks like there's a brief flash of like white just because you have this sudden like she's all black, so she disappears, and so your eyes kind of just like auto corrected into being, oh, the screen flashes white, or at least that's what it does for me. And I don't know, I think it looks good because it kind of adds a like a flash, like okay, now the psychic powers come into play. So, so let's just get back to it. All right, that happens. Whoosh. Oh, I guess I did want to have like psychic swirls, but I didn't think I was gonna do it like this when I started. I was just so when I do these storyboards, I actually did the storyboard in Blender with the music on the timeline, and I use grease pencil tools to just draw the storyboard over a blank canvas, and that was really helpful for me because I didn't want to draw each and every frame in like a separate image file, and then bring that into Blender and then try to play with it there. I'd rather do as many things in one program as I can. You can even tell that this is the weird janky grease pencil tools. You can make them look better with settings and stuff, but I haven't figured that out just yet. Continue. Okay. Oh, shit. Okay. So this is another thing I learned is that it's kind of hard to convey things really quickly. So I made a bunch of details that you're just not going to see unless you stop. And so for these first like crew of bounty hunters, I wanted to have kind of like a Mad Max like vibe for them, post-apocalyptic. So I drew these really cool vehicles. And the ground they're on right here is actually a 3D cylinder with the texture on it. And I just spun it around to make it look like the ground's moving. But that's the only 3D element. Everything here is 2D. And I just put in like a noise modifier to make these things kind of jiggle around a bit to make them look like they're going over terrain. And these actually got a lot of mileage out of these dust clouds. They're just brushes I made in Krita with transparency, and I just spin them around. Like if you watch the animations, you can see that they're just spinning. Like there it is, they're spinning. Whoa! And these vehicles, especially with like this stuff hanging off the side, these boards and stuff, it's inspired by a lot of the vehicles, that's the Russian vehicles in the Ukraine war because they're just like throwing whatever crap they have on there, and it looks like weird Mad Max vehicles. But yeah, let's continue. I have a lot of inspirations I want to talk about. Oh, there's another one. So I kind of well, not an inspiration, but just like a really cool like comparison, like how I draw things in animatic versus how they come out. This one turned out a lot better than I thought it would. I was almost gonna make the gun a 3D model, but I was like, "Ah, you only see it for like a couple frames, and yeah, there's only like one, two, three, four drawings of that gun. I was like, I can just do it for, I can do four drawings, no problem. Why am I doing the keys? All right, play. Oh, okay, that's why I was doing the keys because a lot of this stuff goes really quick. Amazing animatic drawing, and then the amazing final drawings. I really like this. Is like this is my favorite vehicle, just for how it turned out. Especially like this weird kind of balcony. I don't know what this part would be called, but I think that came out cool. Especially like all the skulls and the body right there. Zoom back out and play. And this one, I kind of got sick of using this one because it just felt repetitive, like seeing the same thing over and over again. But I wanted to convey that, oh, they're over here, and then they're being surrounded by people, just coming to kick their ass. And oh, hey, look, this is a new thing to look at. So here you can see this, and then you see these guys. And you can't tell it right now, but originally these guys were going to be kind of like more Napoleonic inspired. But then I thought, I didn't want to draw the hat. But no, it wasn't that. It was just that I was looking up reference images, and then I thought, oh wait, the Prussians look pretty cool because they have those cool little helmets with like the spike on top. It's like, oh, I want to draw those. So I switched sides because the Prussians have some swag, and the French do too. But I don't know. I feel like the Prussians are fitting more in this kind of like icy environment. I was gonna put them in, and I really like the color palettes I ended up using for these guys. This kind of like gray muted look they got going on, especially in their backgrounds, very desaturated, and I thought that looks pretty cool. All right, back to this. Oh crap! Another thing I wanted to talk about. Actually, let's give me a second because I want to show off these 3D models I made for this shot. Let me pull it up. In three, two, one, go. Okay, we're here. So this is that scene I was just showing you, and as you can see, whoa, it's actually kind of in 3D. Actually, pretty much everything in the animation is in 3D. In that I just used oh, you can't tell it right here, but it's all 2D planes in a 3D space. Actually, yeah, you can see these guys. These guys are actually just cards in 3D. They're just kind of floating there, and I just positioned them in such a way that they interact with the 3D elements. But these bugs are 3D, and geez, you can barely see them. Let me solid. Okay, let me do you a solid. Their outline is also a 3D effect. It's just the Blender scene line art tool. Let me hide that better. So I made these bugs a long time ago, and I just never really used them for anything. And so I figure, they could be good cavalry for this. So they just have a very simple animation, a walk cycle that I reuse like a million times in the in the music video. But I got mileage out of these guys. All right, let's go back to the video in three, two. Amazing, incredible. We're back. All right. Oh, and I put chromatic aberration and a slight fish eye lens. Jeez, on these scenes because I wanted to communicate that, oh, this character over here, she's kind of like viewing things remotely with ESP. And whoa, we kind of went for. Oh wait, no. Oh wait, where? There. Jeez, calm down. Okay. All right, we're back here. Let's get back to it. Shabong. Okay, there's that scene. There's more of that. More of these guys. Yeah, you get a better look at this kind of like sergeant, commander, leader, whatever dude. And I don't know what was going on. I was having one hell of a time with my grease pencil, where for like I don't know what was up, but this just looks like really scriggly and scraggly, and I have no idea what happened because everything was looking straight before. Yeah, and I don't know. It was just bugging me, but I just went with this shot because you barely see it for like 1 second. So let's get back to it. Bam. Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. Oh yeah. That looks great. And oh or at least I think this looks cool. I just really like doing huge landscapes. Landscapes are a lot of fun. I'll show you some cool ones when we get back to it. Ooh, ooh, there's that map again. This was actually a pretty cool scene to do too, and I have some thoughts about it, so let's go check it out. Okay, back to Blender. Yeah. So this is that scene, and as you can see, this background, I put it on a curve because the camera pans around, and it just looks less flat. Like maybe the effect is a little too subtle to see, but I feel it looks good. And another interesting thing, so Blender's grease pencil has some issues when you're doing transparency, especially transparent images. So this is a PNG. I did this in Krita, and the effect looks really weird. So these characters here, this is actually a render of a grease pencil layer. So you can see this border around it. That's because it's a PNG, it's got transparency. But here, let me delete that. Well, not delete, just hide it. And then, kabam. And when I click on it, there, you can see the outline. And as you can see, that's how grease pencil layers look. But when I render it out, render, so the characters appear above the transparency. And then when I switch it around back to the image, the transparency appears above the image. So I had to think of some of these workarounds. There probably are some better ways to do this, but I just don't know them. And it worked out because the characters are going to be still for that shot anyways. Alright. And play. So there's that scene. Oh, okay, this one is actually pretty interesting. So originally these guys were going to be kind of more like World War II, like Africa Corps, whatever, like inspired uh, army guys. But they also were like, yeah, they were also going to look more post-apocalyptic, and I already did post-apocalyptic with the Mad Max rabbits at the that were shown earlier. And so I wanted to mix things up. And these are actually inspired by, like, with the Darth Vader helmet. Those are inspired by the Saddam Hussein's Fedayeen soldiers. They were like his elite bodyguard dudes, but they had these goofy Darth Vader helmets that made them look funny. And the rest of their outfit is inspired by that same kind of Middle Eastern thing. Like they have this. I want to say balaclava, but that's wrong. But those scarves they have, and these the bomb vests. I mean, it's not a bomb vest, but just it's just a vest or harness, really. And so yeah, and these tanks are 3D, and in fact, let's go look at them. All right, so this is the scene, and more 2D backgrounds, and actually space these backgrounds out to kind of get that parallax effect where things in the background move at a slower rate than things closer to the camera. But these tanks took a little bit to do, but they're pretty fun. So I have. Oh my god, focus. Okay, I have these. So these treads are actually procedurally animated, where they're just on a curve, and they have some a very simple algorithm to move them. So when I move the tank, as you can see, the tracks go too. Yeah, that looks. So that was cool. There's some issues with them where they don't really work if you have to kind of go anywhere but straight forward. But that's all I needed them for. Like they kind of break apart if you do that, and then you try to move like that. Oh, I guess they don't. Huh. But huh. I guess I can have flying tanks now too. Oh, yeah. The turrets are locked on the x-axis, so they can't really rotate with the rest of the tank either. But they can rotate as long as you don't bend them around. So I have them set up where the turret will track a empty object, which is just an invisible object, and it's good for all kinds of things in Blender. But yeah, check it out. I also found my reference images that I use. Let me Fedayeen. Yes, yeah. So yeah, this is one of the references I used where they have the vest, the the black uniform. It's all black, and then they have their Darth Vader helmet. You can see some pictures of them with it. It looks so weird. But and I also have this image, which is my favorite, where this guy that I guess he stole one. But yeah, that's just cool. All right, back to the timeline. Back to the timeline. Here we are. All right, let's continue where we left off. So that's where okay, more of those tanks, and this one was one of my favorite backgrounds and also one of my favorite bits of animation in this music video. So it's just a pretty nice, smooth lookout. That's actually one of the longer shots that I did for this, and yeah, I'm just happy with how it came out. Nothing too crazy to go over, but oh yeah, in the animatic. Sorry, I forgot I was zoomed in. In the animatic, it was just more of scribbling on that map, and as much as that works for what I was trying to do, I realized it would be really boring as hell if I just kept going back to that same map where he just adds more lines onto it. So I made an executive decision and just switched things around and made some new scenes. So there it goes, back to that map. And this is another interesting design, yeah, design change. So originally this was going to be kind of a mechanical, like spider-legged thing with some kind of turret on top and another balcony sort of dealio set up. I couldn't really decide on how I wanted this to go, so I just kind of kept it vague on the animatic. And in the end, I decided, Baba Yaga hut with artillery. That'd be cooler, or at least it'd be more interesting to. It's a lot easier to get in like the few seconds that we have to see it because this one shot right here is less than 2 seconds. I think it on the timeline it was 36 frames, and that's not a lot to work with. So I figure, okay, house, guns, and chicken legs. That's a lot. You can get that quicker than a weird mechanical contraption that doesn't look like anything. And so this one was a lot of fun to design and draw. So the house and the guns, those were drawn in Krita. You can tell because they have lots of shading and stuff on them, variations, and their angles don't change. But then the legs, yeah, those were drawn in grease pencil. So this is just like a bunch of flat images over a layer of grease pencil drawings. It's kind of like old Scooby Doo and Hanna Barbera cartoons where you can tell what is and isn't gonna move because the cell animated stuff is very clean. It usually doesn't have any sort of shading or texture on it. But yeah, that was cool. Let's see how that goes. Dun, dun, dun. And I still kept the very similar design, where it's like a wizard, and I had like a little minion dude in there with them too. But I figured, just like the one witch, and I wish I could have storyboarded this better to see more of her because I had some design notes for her where she had like a crab claw and stuff, but I was like, no, you're not going to see that much of her, so I just gave her kind of like a shawl. It kind of goes with the whole witch vibe. And the background has some cool stuff too that you'll never see, like jars and a terrarium, and I forgot what was going on there, but I'm not pulling the background up. Alright, let's keep going. So that goes. Okay, back to Ruth at the thing. And that actually kind of stays with the original design. I mean, the original animatic, where I had this kind of like mountain. I wanted to do this low, wide angle with a warped landscape, and I still did that even though I changed how the machine worked. And I think I had like two other like walking things with her. So let's keep going. Map again. That goes backwards. Map. Okay. And then I originally had these guys like looking over the map, and I was like, oh my god, enough with the fucking map. So I just had this. I kind of winged this one, where I didn't really know where I was gonna go with it, but I like how it turned out. And she was originally just supposed to like wake up and look around, but I wanted more of like a dynamic angle where it's kind of like a wide angle looking down where she gets up. Oh, and hey, this is another interesting thing where I had a lot of issues with how Blender's grease pencil does fills. And so I had like all these weird jaggy parts, and for some reason it was just not filling up like all the way because Ev, this character right here, she's just all black. So she's just like fill tool, fill tool, fill tool on all her pieces. And so I had like all these weird gaps, but I I kept them for this shot because she's like kind of like trembling, and I figure that okay that sells like she's in having like this little panic mode. So let's keep going. Okay, and then oh yeah, and originally she just kind of like looked at her friends and nobody kind of like reached out, but I wanted to kind of convey that they're like emotionally sympathetic or supportive of her in some way, and so I figured like okay somebody should reach out to her while she's kind of like in this little panic mode, and as you can see she becomes more solid when somebody touches her. So that, and then this is just that same background I showed earlier where it's curved, but I just changed the image sequence, and I think these guys are still grease pencil because I don't have that kind of glowing transparency, so I didn't have to re-render them out. Oh yeah, and they were gonna like nod initially, but I don't know why I changed it. It just felt better. So this keeps going. Oh yeah, and I originally had a an exterior shot of the castle that they were gonna be in, and them walking down. But the way the timing worked is I think this shot only lasted like 12 frames, and that's half a second. And it's easy to think that oh okay, an audience is going to get this even though it flashes up for half a second, but they're not going to cuz I already know everything about what's going on in the cartoon. Nobody else does, and I have to remember that. And yeah. So I just skipped over like the rest of this going forward. It veers off course from the animatic in a way. So let's keep going. Oh yeah, this was a lot of fun. The trees, and so whoop, she does that, and yep, there's that scene. So that was in the animatic. Ooh, she pans over to him and thumbs up. Okay, we're putting bombs on the trees. This one was different too, where it was supposed to be like there's gonna be like a close up where he puts poison in like a jar and then it like fizzles out and explodes and stuff. But like I said, I only had this sequence was only gonna be like 2 seconds long, and so I'd rather have like one shot last that and try to convey as much with that one shot. And this is also a pretty fun this was a fun sequence to do because I got to play with lighting this time. And that's kind of what this whole animation was for, is just learning how to use grease pencil. So I wanted to have as many different kinds of like effects and angles, shots, just to try a little bit of everything to see how I can make it work in grease pencil. So let's see how this plays out. Yeah, see, so this was like 3 shots of that close up, and then these guys working on stuff like putting together like poison, and then it fizzles, and then they're like putting bombs away. Like these are supposed to be bombs filled with poison, and that just would not fly in like the 36, 48 frames I had to work with for this. And so, oh yeah, and then these guys were. Let's just watch the sequence. So, bam. This was another really complex shot. And in fact, I'll pull it up. But it plays out pretty much as I intended for the animatic. I had to change some things around. Like originally, it was going to be just a close up of Phoenix, this guy right here with the helmet, putting bombs in some rocks, and then Ev uses her psychic powers to put more rocks on the trap, and that was going to be it. But I thought it'd be more fun if I had all of the characters in the same shot. And it'd be cooler to have it be like one long panning shot as well, just to try to get a longer sequence in. And I don't think I have to pull this one out. It's pretty self-explanatory. You know what? Yeah, I'll pull it up. All right, so this is the scene, and as you can see, whoa, look how huge this background is. So I knew this was going to be a longer scene, so I had to make a gigantic background. And I think it's just cool to actually get to see the whole thing. Like I said, there's not a lot different here. It's just, some layers and grease pencil again. Grease pencil. I feel like the only thing that I would change if I redid this was to get the line thickness right, because I realized that so the lines on, why can't you see her? Oh yeah, wait. Yeah, the lines on these two right here are like significantly thicker than the lines on this guy and these two up here that you can't see because they haven't been drawn in yet. Oh, there they are. Yeah, so their lines are a lot thinner than these two were down here. And these rocks are also separate pieces. You can see just everything is just like a separate piece and just different layers that I drew in Krita. And oh yeah, these psychic powers are also grease pencil tools. I mean, that's pretty obvious. And this background was actually inspired by El Capitan. So if you've ever seen there's a documentary called Free Solo, where this guy climbs El Capitan, which is this huge ass cliff that looks like this, and he does it without any kind of climbing gear or safety nets or anything. And I thought, damn, that's crazy. All right, back to the timeline. All right, play. There that goes. Oh, this was another cool scene where Ev is using her powers to put these kind of like Viet Cong spike traps down. And so there we go. Bam, bam, bam. And I originally had like other characters kind of like looking down into the pit in this shot. Yeah, right there, like that. And then I was going to have like Ev use her powers again to just draw like leaves and branches and stuff over it to hide the pit. But then again, like I said before, you would only have like a second and a half maybe at most to see this, and so that just would not work. Yeah, see how fast that goes? And this is just like a really fun background. I had a lot of fun drawing this one. It's not really complicated, just a loop of, Ev right here, the fire with some glow effects. And yeah, I just really liked this background. It was cool. I didn't want to have them be in the castle again because that I wanted to draw different things. So play, keep going, keep going. Oh yeah, and there's gonna be more map shit too. It's like, okay, enough with this map. The map isn't so important. It's more about like the characters and their stuff. And Oh yeah, hey, there's a. I was gonna have Ruth drinking there. She has her wine bottle, and then these two are gonna be up in the corner, and this guy Baza and Apixius, the frog guy, they're gonna be doing a strategy and like mapping and stuff together. Okay, and you can kind of see that they do that in the previous shot where both of them are looking at maps. So I just kind of want to convey that they're like the the brains of the operation. All right, play. So that goes. Oh yeah, I was gonna have a close up of Ruth drinking wine again. All right, but we didn't need that. Okay, and then these two together. Oh damn, they're getting close. Oh, okay, another change thing. So I was originally gonna have like a close up of like the rabbit with like his machine gun going out, but I already did a shot with like a machine gun, so I was like, oh crap, I needed to do something, and I thought, okay, they're Mad Max styled, so I just had him in the car, and oh cool, there's like a skull there and stuff, and I feel like I did too much on the chromatic aberration here, but it's a kind of a closer shot, so I figured that works. And again, it's just showing that Ev is kind of like seeing this stuff from a distance through psychic abilities. And we're actually nearing the end, so let's keep going. Bam, bam, bam. Oh, another shot of the Prussian guy, and I thought it was just cool if he was like on a cliff. I originally had this close-up thing of like a saber going like that, and oh yeah, you can tell it's like the yeah, there's like that kind of Napoleonic hat, but I was like, Prussians are cool too. Let's do Prussians. All right, keep going. There's the house again, and again, like yeah, there were other like smaller like crawling mechanical things. Okay, I like the swamp aesthetic. I went for this, and I did some splash effect right there. Bam, splash. Okay, and originally this guy was gonna be standing on the what you call it, the barrel of the tank, but that didn't work out for what I wanted to do. Where well, let me just show you. So, distance, distance, play. Where there's gonna be okay, so he was originally gonna be like right there on the tank with his hat and stuff, and then you're gonna see like the tank in the scope, while Baza has a sniper rifle trained on them, but I felt like that broke it up too much because you had that long distance shot where he was standing on the tank, and then a close up of him, of his, just his face, just like looking out in the distance, and then you had this shot of like Baza looking through his scope, and you couldn't really. That's a lot to get in like 2 seconds. And you could see the tank in the scope, but then you like have this other shot, and it's like, oh, where's this? And so I think it worked better if you had the one shot where he's out on the tank looking out the distance, and the tank is pointing towards there, and it's at the center of the screen, and you have this thing. So I'm just trying to create enough lines of action in the composition to get it to this one point, even though it's just kind of like just some trees, because you're going to zoom into there, and then bam, and then it zooms in again more, just to convey that okay, yeah, this is the same spot, and these characters are in kind of like the same setting. And I'm not pleased with how this came out with like the sniper rifle, but I was getting kind of like sick of using grease pencil, because grease pencil has some issues that just don't really click with me. And if I went back, I'd just spend more time on this and just make it work. There, grease pencil is a great tool, but the issue is with me in that I'm not that good at it yet. So I figured I'll just have this. I'll go with this. I'm not pleased with it, but it shows up for a few frames, even though I'm like, here, look, I'm hyper focusing on it now. Whoa, see how bad that is? But it shows up for like a fraction of a second at most, so I'd rather just get it done and have something out than just toil over it. So let's keep going. Oh yeah, this was another really cool shot. But hold on, let me pull up the animatic. quick. So bam, bam. Okay. So originally, yep, Ruth with the bombs. So these are the bombs that those guys would have been making in the other thing. And I hope people get that it's the same like weird elixir potion, whatever those guys were working on, because it has that same pale bluish green effect going with it. And so, yeah, those are the bombs right there. And originally, she was just gonna have like a knife, like a little dagger out. Oh, look, yeah, lizard Napoleons. Oh, they were Napoleons. But yeah, she had a knife right there. But I figured, okay, that's just like another element you have to get. We have to get that she has a knife, she has bombs. But I'd rather, bring more attention to the bombs as a callback to the earlier shot than have more stuff in there. And let's actually look at this thing because it's pretty cool. All right, here's that scene in Blender, and check it out. I'm just really glad with this loop I did where she's playing with the bomb. But let me show you something really cool. What? Yep. So, again, in the previous shot, grease pencil does not work very well if you have a transparency PNG over it. And that's what I got right here for the sunlight. And so, yeah, that sequence right there is actually a separate instance of Blender. So here's that scene in 3D. Whoa. Special effects trickery. Ooh. 60 frames. Okay. So there's that. There's the background, and then you have these guys on top. I rendered it out. It's an image sequence and imported it back into this scene as a flat plane. But yeah, that's cool. Oh, also, the glow effect for the bombs is actually a separate layer. As you can see, bam, that's a separate thing. Because in grease pencil objects, to do the glow effect, you have to put it on like the whole thing. So if I put the glow effect on this layer with Ruth, she'd be glowing too, and that would look weird. All right, back to the time. All right, play, bam. And this was just a fun sequence too. In, in fact, it's different from the original planned one. Wait, what? Defiler. Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, they're these mechanical walking things were going to be inspired by the defilers in Warhammer 40,000. So have you ever seen the defilers in 40K? They're just big robot crabs, and they're one of my favorite models. They're just so ugly and stupid looking. They're great, very industrial, chunky. And so I have this sequence of, and oh yeah, so back up. Okay, this one right there. Okay, so I was gonna have Ev and Apixius, the frog guy. So these two are gonna be together because they're both, magic users. Apixius is like a wizard, and then Ev has psychic powers. And so they were gonna be kind of put against the witch character with her artillery house hut thing. But because of issues with how much time I had to work with on the rest of the yeah, the rest of the music track, I wanted to have a scene just showing the artillery house shooting off a cannon to show back up this. So this is supposed to be like an artillery shell coming at them, fired by the witch's house. But I couldn't do that. I just didn't have the time in the track to do that. So I just had to like wing it and just hope that people will get that. Okay, this witch had like artillery cannons on her house. So that's an artillery shell coming up. And I just like this sequence too, where he goes like bam, she grabs it and then just slams it into the ground. And I hope that was understood that that's what she did. I try to have a good juxtaposition between her action and the effect of what happened. So bam, bam, boom. And then this is literally pretty much how the rest of the thing, how the rest of the animatic plays out, where he's just standing there. There's the Mad Maxers out in the distance. There's that same that same dust effect that I've been using for everything, where it's just dust spinning in place. So that goes. Oh yeah, I forgot this is different too. Where well, it's just a couple seconds. Play it. Bam. Okay. So this plays out slightly different where originally he had a gun in his hand right there. But the thing with this character is that he's a cyborg, so he has like a gun arm. And I figured, damn, I didn't really convey that. And people are gonna be wondering, what's with the helmet? Well, he doesn't have like a top of his head. That's he just has like a helmet up there. So I figured, okay, I gotta show the like how much of a cyborg he is. So I just had like, I'll just draw this where he has like a gun come out of his arm, and then yeah, that's pretty much how the rest of that plays. And I actually just reused this background from this shot. Be smart and reuse things. There you go. All right, so that's the music video. The rest of it is just black. And here, wait, let me pull up the credits. Bam. So the song is Pyramid Fugue, composed and performed by the Baltimore Rock Opera Society. It's for their show called The Electric Pharaoh. I forgot how I found that. I just look up weird music all the time, and I just try to find interesting sounds. But I wish I could find who actually worked and composed on it. They have like a big list that I should pull up sometime. So you know what? Wait a minute. Animation. Wow, I am an idiot. Animation. Yeah, so I'll just leave it on that. Animation. So, hope you enjoyed just a look behind the scenes on this music video. I hope I get more animations done in the coming amount of time. It's been a while, and I really do like working in 2D. I like 3D, but I feel like my style, the way I draw things, works better in 2D. Because I have trouble like getting like all this detail and stuff that I want to do in 3D, and especially characters. Every time I try to do a character in 3D, like in this style, they look really weird. And I'm not a really good animator in 3D. 3D has like a very specific set of expectations on how things move and how things look and interact. And I don't think I could have made it work just for my skill set. And I figure my characters look better with this kind of limited animation. Like a lot of what I do is it's mostly loops. Like if you look through it, a lot of the character's action is looped. And I feel like that helps things look, not so static and stationary. And I have been, putting effort into making things not as loopy. But yeah, like this one, there's no loops in this scene where Pixie's gonna ever do that thing, that thing. But so I figure I'll just talk about it like right now. My art style inspiration is like Shitaro Ishinomori, who did Cyborg 009 and Android Keykider. So I used to watch those like all the time. Like those came out in like 2003 or something, and I was like 10 at the time. So I was like at the right age to get hooked on that stuff. And I saw his stuff before I saw Osamu Tezuka's stuff. But I just like the big feet, the big hands. It's very tapered and very round, and so that's a that's a big inspiration. Like just look at Cyborg 009 and Android Keykider. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And the movie Wizards from Ralph Bakshi, like especially these colors and backgrounds, you can kind of see that because that was Ian Miller and Mike Plug who did the backgrounds for that. And I like both of those, like very sketchy, very detailed, lots of little intricate designs, and mechanical elements and natural stuff as well. Like, go look at Wizards by Ralph Bakshi. That's a very good one. And by proxy, Vaughn Bodie, who also is a big inspiration. Like, I could just talk about who I ripped off all day, but I don't have enough time. I got other shit to do. So I hope you enjoyed this. So goodbye, everybody, and hands up.